So coming back to Mr. Lucky, and I would want to pose a question for the first session, for your first session of 15 minutes. Is there money to be made from the DNS domain name business in Africa? If there is money to be made, how can new entrants, hit the ground running? What are the things that can be done by new young entrepreneurs, people who are taking a pause in maybe their educational pursuits to try and earn some money before going forward? Bottom line is this a viable business? And if you think it is, from your vintage point position, especially sitting Africa, are there programs, are there interventions that could be keyed into? Is there a way we can generate new business leaders in this particular sector? Mr. Lucky, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Is there money? There is money. There are opportunities. Now, one of the key things that needs to be in place are those ingredients that I have been speaking to earlier on for domain name growth. And my colleague has equally added to that, Barak, when he spoke about collaboration. This is at an economic level. He speaks about the knowledge economy. And then he looked at the penetration, which is the mobile penetration, connectivity. So if all those building blocks are in place, you are definitely going to see growth in the DNS space in that market. Now, first of all, one is to take stock of the other thing that we introduced recently, which is money. We decided there is over 200,000 businesses that are registered in South Africa per year. Whether they all succeed or some of them go under, it's another story. We then went to government where they register businesses. We said, we want in your page to enable for a domain name to be selected by that applicant, by that potential business person, so that as they apply for their company name, they can also apply for their domain name. And at the other end of the channel, a registrar is waiting to host that applicant. That's one of the economic or the business value that we're generating. Now, money in the DNS space is made in a number of stratas or number of levels. There is the first level as a registry operator. When you are a registry operator or the administrator of domain names, your business would be the provisioning of domain names. So your only business, the only money that you make is from a domain name payable for 1 year, for the 12 months. Then the next level is your registrar. Now it is important that we understand this thing, Chair, because once you combine these things, you don't grow the cake, it doesn't get big. But when you separate and you function in a triple R model, the cake gets bigger. So the next level is your registrar. The registrar is the one who would then be servicing the end users. He is the one who takes the domain names, creates web pages, creates email accounts, and all other services that are necessary, including the hosting of that name. If you need data and connectivity, they would provide. That is the registrar. They make their own money at that level. The next level of the business opportunity is at the reseller level. This is in the insurance world what you would consider or think of as a broker. You find there's somebody who works for an insurance company. They go in the streets selling insurance policies and they get a commission. So equally here, we can create a groundswell of resellers who would earn a commission from their registrars. Then the other element that also creates or realizes value or benefit from the DNS ecosystem is your back-end provider. The back-end provider will be also able to generate revenue, will also be able to create jobs. Finally, if you have a regulator, they will be there as policy writers, as people who provide oversight, and they will make equally a small percentage from the money flowing in their DNS ecosystem. So you can see that the more you segment, you separate the ecosystem, and you have the registry perform the registry function, the registrar performing the registrar function, the reseller, and all the way down. You become or you create a very strong and rich ecosystem that contributes to the economy. We are going to be able to attract those citizens that do not have domain names, but citizens that participate through indirectly, into Facebook or into the web pages without having their own identity. We want through this system model to change and have more people have their domain names. So in my view, those are the building blocks for big money in the domain name space. That's segmentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, sir, for really breaking it down to the bits in this way. Talking about the 3R model. Would you want to talk a little bit more about the reseller space, especially as it impacts on the African market? So one of the school of thoughts in our last webinar was also the fact that we need to start encouraging local adoption of African-grown domains. So we're looking at the CCTLDs and maybe new GTLDs that are powered by African businesses, such that your funds or the revenue stays local, in-house, so to say. But really, Africa is more or less a reseller market, especially to the developed economies. What's your view with regards this particular aspect? And Barak, please feel free to jump in at any time you want to.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Very important one. The reseller model is very critical for growing our market. We would see in the previous market study, the DNS market study that was done, that we still are lagging in terms of name growth, that there is room for growth. And we have requested a follow-up on that market study so that we can close the gaps. But the reseller model, we have recently introduced for our own growth, having understood the DNS market, especially the GTLD space. The GTLD space is very restrictive because it is controlled by ICANN. And if you have to sell a name like .Africa or .shop or .anything that is part of the GTLDs, you will have to be accredited by ICANN. And the accreditation process is very onerous. It's not an easy process. It's very costly. It's cumbersome. It's technically draining, and it's not worth it for every and anybody out there who doesn't see DNS as their core business. And once you are also accredited, you actually must now pay quarterly fees in US dollars. There's a baseline, regardless of the number of domain names you have under your administration. You have to pay 6,250 per quarter. So at the end, you realize that you'll be working for ICANN if you try to provide names in that space being accredited by ICANN. So we decided to provide a heavy lifting offering opportunity. We created a registrar which is accredited with ICANN, and it draws in reseller from the continent. So you don't need now to go through ICANN to get GTLD like .Africa. You can get it directly from us. And also, if you have your clients and you don't have a home to host them, we provide hosting services. But if you have a home that you want to host them on, you can gladly go and host them. So our model enables you that you can start off as a reseller, but you can grow and become your own registrar and host your own clients. And we also are providing training on web design, web development. We provide templates that enable that reseller to build web pages, because one of the inhibitors that we're trying to move is the fact that once you have a domain name, the next question must not be, then what? The next answer must be a web page. And the next answer is an email address. And the next answer is participating in the digital space. So we want to make this happen instantaneously, not too many clicks in and out. When you enter to acquire a name, you will finish with the end. And when you hit end or exit button, you already have your web page, you already have your email address, and you are participating in the digital space. So under this reseller model, we are inviting young entrepreneurs who are ready to participate in this space, who are eager and energetic to be their own bosses, to work at their own time zone, at their own leisure, from the comfort of their home. And I believe, where this creates a lot and brings a lot of offer for our continent in terms of name growth. So the future is that we are looking at even bringing more names that some people on the continent would be interested on acquiring. But at the beginning, we are going to be focusing on the name .Africa. That is the beginning of it. So this is the benefit and the value that we're bringing for resellers across the continent. Thank you, Chair.